Demonstrators protest Brexit as the governing Conservative Party starts its annual four-day party conference in Birmingham, England, on September 30. Rui Vieira AP, by Stefanie Walter October 9 at 7 a.m. The British government is frustrated by the other 27 EU member states' tough line on Brexit. The British press thought that the European Union would soften its position at the recent Salzburg summit of EU heads of government. Instead, the member states fully endorsed the EU Commission's uncompromising negotiating stance. What EU leaders thought of as just repeating their position, that Britain would not be allowed to cherry-pick the bits of the EU they wanted, was described by British media as an ambush of British Prime Minister Theresa May. The British government has been surprised that EU states aren't prepared to make concessions on British access to the EU's single market. After all, a hard Brexit that limits future cooperation would lead to an estimated fall of about 2.6% in the EU 27's GDP, and the fallout from a no-deal Brexit would probably be much larger. The EU has excellent reasons to play hardball. The EU 27 have good reasons to maintain their tough negotiation stance. First, they have bargaining power. Even though the EU 27 have a lot to lose from Brexit, a bad breakup would be much worse for Britain. This gives the EU 27 more bargaining leverage, which they have used. Furthermore, the remaining member states worry that allowing Britain to enjoy the benefits of EU integration without sharing the costs would encourage other member states to leave the EU too. My research with colleagues has shown that voters are more likely to want their governments to take a hard line with the EU if they think that the EU will not take a hard line with them. Before the Brexit referendum, for example, only 22% of Leave voters believed the EU would not allow them to remain in the single market. Similar dynamics also drove voting behavior in referendums in Switzerland and Greece. The fear that Brexit could encourage more countries to leave gives the EU a powerful incentive to make Britain's exit as unattractive as possible. This helps explain why all EU 27 member states strongly support the EU's chief negotiator, Michel Barnier. The EU public backs this tough stance. The EU 27's public backs their leader's tough negotiating stance. In an EU-wide online survey of 9,423 EU 27 citizens conducted by Dalia Research in June 2018 as part of my larger research project on Brexit, almost every second person who responded said that the EU should take a hard, or very hard line in the Brexit negotiations. In contrast, only about 12% wanted to accommodate Britain. People who responded also overwhelmingly support their national government's Brexit negotiation positions, most of which are very tough. Brexit positions of EU 27 citizens. Support for a tough negotiating line is particularly strong, 57%, among those EU 27 Europeans who follow the Brexit process a lot, and among Europhile respondents, 55%, who like the EU. Perhaps surprisingly, almost one-third of Eurosceptics supported hard EU negotiating stance. Moreover, EU 27 attitudes toward Britain have significantly hardened over the course of the Brexit negotiations. whereas 15% of respondents supported a soft or very soft negotiation line at the start of the negotiations in July 2017. This number had dropped to 12% by the summer of 2018. In contrast, support for a very hard line increased from 40% to 44% over the same period of time. Contrary to influential Brexiteers who claim that lots of Europeans are uneasy at the line the EU Commission is taking on Brexit, there is a high level of agreement about how to handle the Brexit negotiations. Voters are driven by a desire for damage controlled, rather than a desire for vengeance. Other polling data gathered by Respondi for a research project run by Ignacio Jurado, Sandra Leon and myself suggests that voters are more interested in damage control than punishment. This is not EU-wide data, but does examine attitudes to Brexit in two of the most important EU27 economies, Germany and Spain. The people who responded to our question said that protecting their country's economic interests was the most important goal for the Brexit negotiations, 52%. Other important goals included avoiding an increase in Spanish-German contributions to the common EU budget, 41%. Very important, finding a mutually beneficial deal for the EU and Britain, 36%, and avoiding the departure of other countries from the EU in the future, 34%. Only 14% said that punishing Britain for leaving the EU was important. Among Europhiles, avoiding a domino effect ranked as the highest priority. Our research also suggests that German and Spanish voters have a clear understanding of the dilemmas and trade-offs involved in the Brexit negotiations. We presented our survey respondents with a number of Brexit packages to find out what might attract them to different packages of policies. See here for an explanation on how this works. We found that the respondents strongly supported Brexit packages that extract maximum concessions from Britain on zero-sum issues such as the financial bill for Brexit, but were more compromising in areas where a hard approach would also impose costs on the EU, such as trade cooperation or Britain's continued participation in the EU's frameworks for scientific research and cooperation between national police forces. People understood the trade-offs, but overall nonetheless supported the EU's uncompromising negotiating stance. Taken together, strong public support for the EU's approach to Brexit, the EU's greater bargaining power and the risk that accommodating Britain might undermine the long-term stability of the EU make it unlikely that the EU will soften its position. The outcome of the Brexit process will thus depend on when and how much Britain shifts its red lines. Read more. Brexit is exposing and widening tectonic rifts in British politics. Theresa May's Brexit speech may break the Northern Ireland peace process. Brexit is a mess, and Trump's visit sure didn't help. Stefanie Walter is professor for international relations and political economy in the Department of Political Science at the University of Zurich, and author of Financial Crises and the Politics of Macroeconomic Adjustments, Cambridge University Press, 2015.